What if I told you that a single, tiny change to one player's position could completely upend the most popular sport in the world? Well, today, we're going to break down a tactical shift so smart, it literally changed how the entire game is played. And it all starts with the role we thought we understood. All right, so let's start with the basics we all know and love. The fullback. For like 100 years, their job was pretty simple. You own the sideline. You run up, you run down, you defend your flank, you overlap the winger on attack. It's football 101, right? The foundation of the game.
And this is where things get interesting. This is where our story really starts, with a question that sounds kind of nuts on the surface. What if a fullback just didn't do that? What if they stopped hugging the sideline and did something totally different?
Well, that question leads us straight to one man, Pep Guardiola. And this wasn't some random idea he cooked up in the middle of the night. Nope, it was a very specific solution to a very old problem.
See, every football fan knows games are won and lost in the middle of the pitch. That's the battleground. And the puzzle for every coach is, how do you get more bodies in there to control the ball, but without leaving huge gaps at the back for the other team to attack? It's a constant balancing act.
And this was Pep's absolutely brilliant and kind of weird answer. Instead of bringing on a whole new midfielder, he thought, why don't I just move a defender there? So when his team had the ball, he told his fullbacks, hey, forget the sideline for a minute. Tuck inside, become a midfielder. He had them invert into the center. And you can just see how it's a total 180, a complete reversal of everything a fullback was supposed to do. Instead of overlapping outside the winger to provide width, they now move inside and underlap. They're no longer stretching the field wide, they're packing the middle to give their team an extra man. It's a whole new job description. You know, having a spark of genius is one thing, but turning that spark into a system that works and then dominates across different leagues and different teams, well, that's what separates a gimmick from a true revolution. And what's so cool is you could actually trace the evolution of this idea through Guardiola's career. It kind of started as a little experiment back at Barcelona. Then it got perfected and polished at Bayern Munich. And finally, it became this unstoppable, fluid machine at Manchester City. So let's jump over to Germany, because this is where the idea really took off. At Bayern, this wasn't just a situational trick anymore. It became the absolute core of how the team played every single week. I mean, when you have tactical geniuses like Philipp Lahm and David Alaba executing it, the inverted fullback became their signature move. It allowed Bayern to just totally overwhelm teams in the middle, which then freed up their legendary wingers Robben and Ribéry to stay out wide and do what they did best. But then he moves to England, to the Premier League, probably the fastest, most physical league in the world. The system had to adapt again, or it was going to get crushed, and in adapting, it actually became even more dangerous. Over at Manchester City, Pep showed just how flexible the whole idea could be. He used it with all sorts of different players, and then he took it to another level. He started pushing a central defender, John Stones, into that midfield role. It became his secret weapon to break down teams that just parked everyone behind the ball.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Xabi Alonso, one of the smartest midfielders ever, played in that Bayern team. He said Pep just changed football in Germany, and his logic is simple. The rest of the world copies the best, and Pep is the best. The players themselves knew they were part of something huge.
So, what's the big deal? What's the lasting legacy here? Why is this one little positional tweak so important that we're still talking about it? Because its impact is felt everywhere now. It all comes down to this one simple thing, A+1. By moving that defender inside, you magically create an extra player right in the heart of the pitch, the most important piece of real estate in the game, without having to make a single substitution. It's a tactical cheat code. And that simple +1 sets off this incredible domino effect. First, you get a midfield overload, which means, second, it's way easier to control possession and just dominate the ball. And maybe most importantly, third, when you do lose the ball, that same player is already in the perfect spot to stop a counterattack before it even starts. It's offense and defense all in one move. And, you know, the data backs all of this up completely. Teams that master this see their possession numbers shoot way up, they get caught on the break far less often, and their attacks become way more varied and unpredictable. It just works.
So really, the most crucial point is this. The inverted fullback didn't just change a position. It blew up our entire understanding of formations. A 4-3-3 on the team sheet might look like a 3-2-5 when they have the ball. Positions suddenly became fluid, flexible roles, not just fixed spots on a diagram.
And that's its true legacy. What started as this weird tactical oddity is now just normal. It's standard practice. You see it everywhere, from the Champions League all the way down to youth soccer. Coaches are now teaching defenders how to think and play like midfielders from a young age.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a rule as fundamental as defenders stay on the side could be completely rewritten, what other impossible ideas out there right now, just waiting for the next innovator to come along and change the game all over again?